So, have you ever noticed this? You're talking to this brilliant AI, and it feels like it has the memory of a goldfish. One minute, it's the perfect creative partner, and the next, it has absolutely no idea who you are. Okay, let's dive into why that's happening, and more importantly, how we can actually fix it.
I mean, it's super frustrating, right? You pour all this time into explaining your project, your personal preferences, your goals, and then you come back the next day and you have to start all over again from scratch. So, what is going on? Why does this incredibly powerful tool keep forgetting you? Well, the simple answer is they're basically designed with amnesia. By default, large language models are what we call stateless. Think about it like this. Their entire awareness, their whole world, is confined to just one single interaction. And once that interaction is over, poof, the memory is completely wiped clean.
And that brings us right to the heart of the matter, what we can call the AI's amnesia problem. This is the fundamental barrier, the main thing we need to get past if we want to build AI assistants that are truly personal.
Okay, so here's the crucial part you have to understand. An AI's entire universe is limited to something called its context window. That's all the information it can see and process at any one time. If you don't have a system to manage what goes into that window, then every single conversation, every single question starts from absolute zero.
So, how do we solve this thing? Well, the solution is a really fascinating discipline called context engineering. You can think of it as the secret recipe, the master plan for finally giving our AI a real memory.
And the formal definition here is actually really important. It's the process of dynamically assembling and managing information. The keyword there is dynamic. See, this isn't just about stuffing more data into the prompt. No, it's a super strategic process for building an AI that is stateful, that is actually aware. You know, the perfect way to think about this is like a chef's mise en place. Before a chef starts cooking, they don't just grab random things from the fridge. They gather, chop, and organize every single ingredient they'll need. That is exactly what context engineering does for an AI. It gets everything prepped and ready to go. Okay, so if context engineering is the master plan, what are the actual tools we use? Well, the whole system really comes down to two core components, something we can call the agent's workbench for what's happening right now, and its filing cabinet for long-term memory.
Right, let's break this down. The session, that's your temporary workbench. It's messy, it's covered in all the notes and tools you need for the immediate task you're working on. But memory, on the other hand, that's the long-term, meticulously organized filing cabinet where you store the really important stuff for later.
And look, this difference is absolutely critical. Sessions are temporary. They just hold the raw, messy dialogue of a single conversation. Memory, though, is built for the long haul. It's persistent across many sessions. And it doesn't store all that messy dialogue. Nope. It stores the clean, extracted insights that we want the AI to remember about us forever. So that leads to the big question, right? How does all that messy stuff on the workbench get cleaned up and put into that neat filing cabinet? How does an AI intelligently figure out what's important enough to actually remember? See, this process isn't just about storage, it's about curation. The best analogy is a diligent gardener. The system doesn't just dump every single word of the conversation into storage. It actively goes through, pulls out the conversational weeds, prunes existing knowledge to keep it relevant, and carefully plants new important facts. So this whole gardening process, it's actually a pretty sophisticated pipeline that's driven by an LLM. First, it ingests the raw conversation from the workbench. Second, it uses another LLM to pull out the meaningful insights. Third, and this is the really clever part, it consolidates that new knowledge, merging it with old memories and even fixing any contradictions. And finally, it stores that refined, shiny new memory in the filing cabinet for future use.
Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking, especially if you've been in this space for a while. Hold on a second. This sounds a whole lot like retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, and that's a great question, but they actually serve two very different, though complementary, purposes.
Okay, the absolute best way to get this is to think about it like this. RAG is your research librarian. It gives the AI access to this huge library of external facts about the world. Memory, though, that's your personal assistant. It doesn't know about the world, it knows about you. So RAG makes an AI an expert on facts. Memory makes an AI an expert on its user.
So let's put it all together. You've got the workbench for the here and now, the filing cabinet for long-term storage, and the gardener intelligently managing it all. What does that actually get us? Well, we finally get an AI that truly knows you. And that is a total game changer.
So why is this such a big deal? Well, for one, you get true personalization. The AI remembers your preferences, your projects, your history. Second, it's the smartest way to manage that limited context window, which saves on cost and makes things faster. And maybe coolest of all, it allows an agent to actually learn from its past conversations, its successes and failures, and improve itself over time.
At the end of the day, this isn't just some cool technical trick. Context engineering is the thing, the conceptual leap that finally takes us from these generic, forgetful chatbots to the real, personalized AI assistants that we've all been promised for so long.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question. Once this technology is really perfected, once we can build applications where the AI genuinely remembers and understands its users, what will you build? The possibilities? Well, they're just starting to unfold.